Skirt, skirt. Told you we always been ready. I don't need people that's petty, that weigh on me heavy while I'm being steady. I need a record with Felly. We get it bouncing like Betty's, I feel like I'm Nelly. Don't bring the beef like a deli. It's leave on a levy, no sleeping on me like I'm Freddy. Chris Breeze, how I do, hit him with the moves. Left hand step back, ballin' like I'm Coos. All faith, God's plan, you just gotta choose. God slaps, nothing left to prove. Y'all gotta leave me alone. Lately I've been in my zone. Told them no cap like I fitted, but lately the flows have been straight off the dome. I feel like I'm MVP, like my name Patty Mahomes. If it ain't about money, don't hit up my phone, cause lately I've been in my zone.
Hello, welcome to the Cowboy Show, hosted by Ben Carey and Nick Gronerad, combining expert human opinions with cutting-edge simulation models to help you arrive at the best picks each week. Inside Edge Community. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
What's going on, everyone? Welcome to today's stream. We have yet another Super Bowl preparation stream. Yesterday we talked about player props, so just like standard passing yards, rushing yards, receiving yards, all that jazz. Today we're going to be talking about all of the other wacky stuff that makes betting on the Super Bowl such a fun and unique experience. So Ben, I know you've been doing a lot of research into a lot of these props, so counting on you to kind of lead the way.
You got it.
And chat, there's way more props than we could ever talk about. So if there's anything that you guys are interested in, let us know, and we will be sure to touch on it.
Yeah, to put it in perspective, roughly 130, 120 college basketball games today. There's 490 props on Superbook, right? So
yeah,
and I think DraftKings, I mean, their menu pretty big. Caesars, pretty big. FanDuel, so
yeah,
puts it in perspective.
We got a bunch of books up, so just gonna shop around a little bit. And yeah, Dankshi, go ahead and ask a question. But Ben, where do you want to start? There's not really like a natural starting spot.
Yeah. We could just start with the MVP discussion.
All right. I don't know if you saw that was what was up on the screen already.
That's what it is.
Okay.
But, I mean, it's like at some point we're going to talk about that. Let's just talk about it now.
Yeah, Dankshi, that's hilarious. That's a good one. So MVP odds. We've got the two quarterbacks, kind of not so surprisingly, number 1 and number 2. Matt Stafford at plus 100, Joe Burrow at plus 225. Do you think that there's value on either of those guys?
It's one of those things that if the Bengals win, Burrow has a very good chance to win it. If the Rams win, Stafford is still the favorite, but it gets a little more complicated. I don't really see a scenario where someone on the Bengals wins it and it's not, or if the Bengals, of course, win the Super Bowl and Burrow doesn't win it. So hope that answered the question.
Yeah, so I guess at plus 225, I mean, you are getting kind of better value than the Bengals money line. I mean, obviously, looking at Joe Burrow. So he's definitely an option. So just looking back, it's been kind of not so surprisingly a lot of quarterbacks who have won Super Bowl MVP. Recent non-quarterback winners, Julian Edelman on the Patriots a couple years ago. Before that, Von Miller on the Broncos, and before that, Malcolm Smith on the Seahawks. Those are the only ones since 2010 who have won Super Bowl MVP as a non-quarterback. It used to be a little bit more common, but these days it seems like every big award just kind of goes to the quarterback.
Yeah, it's just the production, and they can have 300 yards, and it's like, oh my gosh, but Hey, my guy Von Miller won it for us back in Super Bowl 50, and he was the MVP. So he's sitting at 40-1.
Yeah, I mean, there's. Let's see where. Yeah, he is actually sitting at 40-1. Von Miller is.
Mm-hmm.
So Danksy says Jalen Ramsey. What are your thoughts on that?
100-1.
100-1.
I mean, maybe he would need a pick six, probably.
Yeah, probably. No, one cornerback has won Super Bowl MVP before. And that was Larry Brown on the Dallas Cowboys back in 1996. Super Bowl 30. Dexter Jackson won as a defensive back, but at safety in 2003 for the Buccaneers. So it can happen. I think Ramsey kind of it scares me from the Super Bowl MVP side of things, just because I don't know how much they're going to throw at him. Mm-hmm. And he can have a huge impact on the game just by, say, taking Jamar Chase out of the equation. But like you said, he's going to need a pick six to win Super Bowl MVP. And probably even more than that.
I'm just trying to see if there's any other guys. I mean, I'm sorry, Ryan Cassis. McPherson is not going to win. Nick, realistically, not even joking, like what would he need to do to win the MVP?
So for Evan McPherson or either kicker to win MVP, I mean, what you're looking at is probably a low-scoring game with a walk-off kick.
Yeah. 55 or longer walk-off.
Yeah.
Like something crazy.
And also you'd need for there to not be anybody else who is kind of an obvious guy for it. Like, you're going to need mediocre games from the quarterbacks, but also no defensive touchdowns, and also, like, running back doesn't really do anything. So speaking of running backs, so what I actually think is interesting is how infrequently running backs win Super Bowl MVP.
Yeah.
So we can see we've got Joe Mixon, Cam Akers, Sony Michel all in this group of 12 people or so who are better than 100-1. But a running back hasn't won Super Bowl MVP since Terrell Davis in 1998.
Oh, wow. I remember that one.
I don't remember that one. I was too young. So anybody else that you want to talk about, or anybody in chat have any other guys you want to discuss? I mean, I think outside of the quarterbacks, it's kind of just throwing darts. Aaron Donald is another guy who's getting a lot of talk. I don't know how impactful he can be.
Like, he could be impactful in the game, but I don't think he's going to have a lot of sacks, so to speak, because he's just going to plug up the middle and make Burrow scramble. Like, Von Miller probably has a better chance in a way, like, if you really think about it.
Mm-hmm. I agree. So let's move along from the MVP discussion.
One last thing, Nick, I just want to discuss real quick. So on BetMGM, they have, will a non-quarterback win the MVP? And I think that's at plus 220, which I think is somewhat interesting.
Yeah, I kind of don't like the value on that. I mean, just looking historically at the last 10 years or so, I mean, it's the same way with MVP. It kind of just goes to the best quarterback, unless I don't think it plus 220. I like the value there. I'd like it more like plus 300, kind of just guesstimating.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I just think the Rams are going to win, so that's why I think there's a better chance of someone else winning it other than a quarterback.
That's true. So let's move on to the novelty props section. So there's a couple a couple props here that I know you've been really passionate about. So let's start off with, will a kick hit the uprights? So on DraftKings right now, we have yes at plus 400, no at minus 550. I'm sure the odds are a little bit different depending on the book. But what are your thoughts on this? I know you've hammered one side of this.
I wouldn't call it a hammer, but I put
A responsible hammer.
a decent amount on the no.
And why is that?
So doing the math, we're probably going to get like 4 to 6 either extra points or field goals. And 3 of those are probably going to be, or 4 of those are probably going to be extra points. So we're looking at what is it, 35-yarder? So probably pretty unlikely that it's going to hit on an extra point. The field goals, though, there is the chance that if someone attempted like a 50-yarder, 55-yarder, that it could be coming close. But the implied odds on this, Nick, at 550 are close to like 83%. I think this is closer to like 90. So I, believe it or not, think that there's a little value on the no.
Despite it being minus 550.
Yeah, exactly. That's kind of how I broke it down.
Yeah, so I mean, there's going to be more than 4 kicks. Or there's probably going to be more than 4 kicks in this game. I mean, four kicks maxes you out at 28 points. And the total should be a lot higher than that. But I think
4 to 6?
4 to 6. Yeah, I mean, even 6. If there's 6 touchdowns with 6 extra points, you're still only looking at... Oh, no, I guess, yeah, that's like 42 points.
Yeah. I guess to be safer, I should say like 5 to 7.
Yeah. So what about this next one? So jersey number of first touchdown scorer. Over under is sitting at 23 and a half.
Man, this one moved. This was closer to minus 110 on both sides for the under, and now it's jumped up to minus 140. And that's just because you have quite a few players, right, that have jersey numbers under 23 and a half. Kupp, Odell, Chase, both quarterbacks, Akers. I think this is one that the public just looks at and they say, well, 23 and a half, it's not 50. So I'm getting value on all the overs, right? But that's not really how you need to look at it.
All of your linemen and a lot of defensive players, the guys with higher numbers.
So, I mean, now it's minus 140. I don't know how much value is still there.
Yeah, so who are some potential guys with higher jersey numbers who can cause an upset here?
Yeah, Mixon, Higby's out.
Yeah.
Higgins and Boyd, I would say, are 3.
Yeah, plus I'm sure all of the tight ends have numbers up in the 80s.
Yeah. Do you lean under on this one still?
I think, I don't know at minus 140 if I like the under, and especially the threat of Mixon scares me.
Yeah.
That's my big point of apprehension, because I do think that Mixon is right about the best bet to score a touchdown in general in this game. But I think I would still take the under. Just because there's so many dudes.
What is up with this octopus one?
So I think the octopus is a player scoring 8 points on a drive. That's what this is.
So if I see an octopus in a commercial, I can't go to DraftKings and say, you guys didn't explain it well enough.
Yeah, I mean, maybe they do have an explainer somewhere. Also, somebody correct me if I'm wrong about that. I think that's what it is. I'm assuming that's what it is. It's not like, will there be an octopus thrown onto the field or anything like that. Like we're not at a Detroit Red Wings game. So what I think is kind of interesting is I actually think that yes, might be the value here at plus 1,200. And the reasoning for that is if there is a 2-point conversion attempt, and Ben, do you remember what the odds were for that?
Man, it was like to have an attempt. I think it's like plus 150.
Yeah. So
and then to convert, it's like plus. No, I think it's closer to plus 120. To convert, it's like plus 220, something like that.
okay. So at plus 220 for a successful 2-point conversion attempt, what you're probably looking at is, the guy who scored the touchdown, unless it's a defensive touchdown, is probably at least going to be on the field for the 2-point conversion attempt. So you're looking at between the quarterback and 5 eligible receivers about a 1 in 6 chance. I mean, that's not exactly how it works, but roughly in that range. But if you're looking at more like a plus 200 for a successful 2-point conversion, I don't think that 1,200 is quite enough value for me to advocate taking a yes. And this is not something that I'd put any money on no.
Yeah,
I think at minus 2,000 is definitely bad value.
Nick, let's hop on over to, if you go to Super Bowl specials, and then game totals is like the subcategory.
Okay. And what do you want to look at here?
There's just a few. We can kind of go through some of them. The total players with the rush attempt, I definitely want to highlight.
Okay. So the over-under here is for total players with a rush attempt, over-under 7.5. And the over is minus 135, under plus 105. So what are your thoughts on this?
My thoughts, I love the over, personally.
And why is that?
So there's a few reasons. Number one, this is the last game of the season for both teams. So anything in the playbook that you've thought about running or have run, or we're worried about running in the playoffs because teams would pick it up on the next game, that's kind of out of the question. Mm-hmm. 2, Darrell Henderson's back.
Yeah.
I think that's huge for this. I mean, it's just the upside, right? And then 3, this is a little bit of speculation, but P. Ryan hasn't had a carry in the last 2 games, and I think there's a good chance, we mentioned this yesterday on the player prop stream, I think there's a good chance for him to get a carry because you can't just have him out there in passing situations only. The defense is going to tee up on that.
Yeah, so
I like this a lot, Nick.
I'm a little questionable.
Nick, this is my favorite prop.
Is
literally
it?
of all, yeah. And it's fine if you don't like it, but I love it.
So let's think about this. So who are the 8 guys?
We have Stafford, Burrow.
I wouldn't count on Stafford and Burrow, especially Stafford.
Well, I'm counting them.
You might. I mean, that's kind of the key, but that's my big point of apprehension, is because like we were talking about rushing yard props for the quarterbacks yesterday, and so many quarterbacks just have 0-0-0 stat line in the Super Bowl.
He just needs an attempt.
Yeah, I mean, so you might get like a kneel down.
Yeah, if I get a kneel down or a QB sneak. So I'm counting those two.
Okay, so let's give them each a carry. I think Burrow is a pretty safe bet to have an attempt. I'm iffy on Stafford, unless it's a kneel down, because he'll. I mean that would be a rush.
Yeah.
So, on other guys on the Bengals, Mixon obviously. I like P. Ryan's odds for sure of getting a carry. I think that's a fairly safe bet. So those are kind of for sures. On the Rams side of things, Akers and Michelle, for sure.
Yep.
So you're sitting, even with the quarterbacks, you're sitting at 6 guys there. So then you need some combination of either Darrell Henderson getting a carry, which I don't know how likely that is. I mean, it's something that we've been on for a long time with the Rams, that they kind of just have one guy. Mm-hmm. And I do think that Michelle will get some touches, but Henderson also getting touches.
Yeah,
it's like very opposite of the way that they like to run.
Yeah, and I placed this before I even knew the Henderson information. I actually placed this at -110. And I've been trying to find it at that number still, but it's at minus, or not -8. It's at 8 at a lot of books. The over under is at 8.
I mean,
so this is one of the few that's at 7.5 still.
Yeah. So on
but
so
8's, no.
So Henderson would be 7 in this hypothetical, and then what you'd need is either like Chris Evans to somehow get a carry, which I kind of really doubt is going to happen. I mean,
Chase.
Yeah, and Chase is the other guy.
Yeah, Chase.
But I don't think that Chase I don't think Chase is a given.
Yeah, that's not a given, but I feel like it's more likely than not for him to get a carry.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I would probably take Chase over half a carry. But I think counting on Chase and Henderson and Stafford just to hit 8 is the thing that scares me.
Mm-hmm.
So I think I actually like the under.
Yeah, and hey, it's fine. I think the biggest thing for me is just the amount of trick plays we've seen Super Bowls. I think Chase is gonna for sure have a carry. Well, I shouldn't say for sure, but I think there's like a 75-80% chance he gets a carry.
Yeah, so let's see. I'm just gonna look at last year. How many guys had a rush?
A jet sweep is a carry.
Yeah, jet sweep is a carry.
It's just those if they do the shovel pass.
Yeah. So there were 8 guys who recorded carries last year.
Mm-hmm.
Quarterback and 2 running backs for each team, plus Tyreek Hill, plus Scotty Miller. The year before, there was 9. Because Travis Kelce had a carry, Mecole Hardman had a carry. So
yeah, and then,
yeah, I don't know.
On the year, I think Jefferson has had a carry, OBJ has had a carry, Kupp has had a carry. So at least there's guys in the mix there.
Yeah, for sure. There's definitely options. I think Stafford is just the thing that's the most concerning to me.
Mm-hmm. So, for example, Nick Caesars has this at 8, minus 115 on both sides.
Wow.
Wait, hold on.
I need to hop on that under. I think 9 is a stretch.
I may play both. Let me think about this. I need to land. I would need for it to land on an 8 to hit both bets. Or I'd push, but then I'd...
Yeah, you can't play over 7.5 under 8.
Yeah, you can.
Oh, I guess you can.
But it's not you can't middle. Interesting.
So, anything else?
Let's see. There's a
There's a
pass
lot
attempt
of,
one. If you see anything that catches your eye that you want to discuss.
There's a lot of kind of degen-y stuff. Total touchdown yardage. I'm sure we're going to throw some of these in the prop picking contest.
Yeah.
Total kickoffs. Over under 10.5.
Okay, I have a good one if you're ready to move on to the next section.
Yeah, let's move along.
Speaking of total degen, let's go to fastest player. So don't worry, Nick. I don't want to say a deep dive. I did a semi research sesh on this.
And what did the research tell you?
First of all, I'm like, how do they track this? I guess they have the next gen stats.
Yeah.
So Henderson's at 20-1, but if his knees, if he's coming off the knee injury, maybe that's not the best bet. But Trent Taylor is the punt returner. He would need a long return though to hit a top speed. And then Chris Evans is the kick returner, and he's not listed, so he would be at plus 700. I just find that interesting.
Yeah. And I mean, also, we're not really seeing any defensive players on here.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe any other player just getting all of the defenders.
Yeah, get Jalen Ramsey on an interception.
Mm-hmm. Or just like chasing somebody down.
I think it's ball carrier.
Oh, yeah, ball carrier. That's right.
But my question, though, is an interception considered a ball carrier?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
How much am I getting for Andrew Whitworth? Says ASIM.
You better get like 500.
Plus 700.
Yeah, that's true.
That would be incredible.
Fastest sack is... I didn't even see that
Fastest
one last night.
sack? That's crazy. So probably like time until the quarterback hits the ground.
God, why does Von Miller seem like... I mean, that's why he's priced at plus 300.
Yeah.
What if Burrow like fumbles the snap and falls down and gets touched? Is that a sack or is that a rushing attempt?
I think that's a rushing attempt. I don't know, actually. That's okay. Jeff says that's a sack.
It's a sack. Okay.
So I mean, you if you're betting on this, you're already counting on them to just get a sack.
Yeah.
And I mean, so what are the odds on players to just get a sack?
It's a good question. We could let's actually look at those.
Yeah.
I'm trying to find where that would be. Defensive. Okay. Actually, these are good ones to discuss. Let's talk about some of these.
Yeah, so let's just look at Von Miller. So Von Miller to record a sack is minus 155. Trey Hendrickson, the guy who with the second best odds, is sitting at minus 135. Is there any data on like how quickly sacks happen? I mean, I'm sure that it exists.
It exists. It's typically going to be an edge rusher, right? Because you can do a quick spin move.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's where the value's at. I was looking at the sack props as a whole, Nick. And the Bengals total sacks, 1.5, is interesting. Because I kind of lean with the under at plus 120. Now, again, this is with the idea in mind that I have a lean towards the Rams to win this game and be up. But if they rely pretty heavily on their rushing attack, maybe we don't see Burrow a sitting duck as much. But it's low. I mean, 2 sacks, it's done.
Yeah, I mean, and the Bengals do have a pretty decent set of pass rushers. I mean, Trey Hendrickson, just on his own, was minus 135 to get a sack.
Mm-hmm.
That feels incredibly risky, taking the under.
Yeah, let's jump over to the field goal props. It's just in that same section. Just scroll over to the right a little bit.
The direction of the first missed field goal.
I I'm not betting on this one. Don't worry. I thought it was funny though.
So
Okay,
what do you anything you want to look at here?
First of all, hits post crossbar is 350 for the first field goal.
No, his first missed field goal.
Oh, first miss.
Does it miss to the left, miss to the right? Does it miss short?
Why does that feel like 350 should be like way higher compared to the other prop, right?
It definitely should. Well, I mean, so this pushes if there's no missed field goals.
Yeah.
So there's like
it does?
I would assume so.
Oh, yeah,
right?
yeah, you're right.
It has to.
Since there will be no miss.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay, I'm scrolling down. Some of these are actually, you know what's funny is this section is probably the sneakiest heavily bet section.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure.
People love the field goals made, longest field goal. See, the longest field goal for me, I 100% lean over, but it scares me because it seems too easy. Two really good field goal kickers.
Yeah, I mean, 48 plus is... I mean, that's some yardage.
Yeah. Larry, wait. I took the shortest field goal over 27.5. So, Nick, we talked about this one last year. So, basically, 27.5. The ball... So, any field goal made within the 11-yard line... Actually, 12-yard line. Any field goal made from the 12 to the 1 would make this under. So that's the way you kind of look at it, right?
Yeah. So is there going to be like a goal to go situation where they kick a field goal?
Yeah.
So last year made field goals 49, 34, 52, 52. So three long ones that all went over the 47.5. For longest, I mean, and Evan McPherson, we know he's very good. I mean, it feels like he kicks a 50-yarder every game. I'm trying to see when the last time there was one under 27.5 kicked. So nothing in the last 3 years, but in the Eagles' win over the Patriots, there was a 25-yarder and a 26-yarder.
So my question, Nick, is I do believe that it is important to look at previous Super Bowls, but wouldn't we want to look more at how these teams kick field goals in that scenario?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, that's just the games I had up already.
Yeah.
I think looking at Super Bowls is useful just because of it is a kind of unique game.
Yeah.
Teams approach the risk and reward differently than they would in the regular season.
Yeah. And the way they prepare for the game, and yeah, there's a lot of different variables that come into play.
Yeah. But I think that I like Larry's bet. Shortest field goal over 27.5.
Mm-hmm.
That feels like a good bet to me. Anything else interesting here?
Yes, not here, but we're gonna go to one that I think is quite possibly one of the most popular. It's up there, top 5, maybe top 10, at least top 10. So go to kicking props, like 3 over, 4 over.
Mm-hmm. Oh, the opening kickoff.
Yeah. So have you heard the whole spiel about this one?
Yep. But give the spiel for anybody who hasn't heard.
Okay, so here's the spiel. I'm going to trust Pat McAfee on this and what he said. And if he's a liar, we put it on him. But he said that in the Super Bowl, they bring out a special ball that goes into the Hall of Fame. so it's not broken in yet. So it's firmer, and apparently that makes, physics. It makes the ball not travel as far. So I believe, Nick, the last 10 games, there's only been one touchback.
Yeah, it's something along those lines.
Yeah. And a lot of people have been betting the no. Like, I would be shocked if 70% of the handle isn't on no, because that trend I've seen so many times, and it's everywhere. It's mainstream. So the thing we have to consider, though, Nick, is we have two kickers who have, well, I was going to say they have two very powerful legs. They at least have one very powerful leg. But, yeah, Roy, you heard the opposite? I'm pretty sure that's the trend, right, Nick?
Yeah,
It's
is
9
that
out of 10?
is that this is a lot of no's historically.
Mm-hmm.
I'd be inclined to bet no.
Yeah.
Just for that reason. If you look at all kickoffs, yes, at minus 105 is a fantastic value.
Mm-hmm.
A strong majority of kickoffs, just in general, are touchbacks. But I think it is different in the Super Bowl.
Just want to confirm these numbers, but this prop has hit 26 out of the last 28 times.
Wow.
Yeah. That's crazy.
Yeah, and it makes perfect sense. The reasoning behind it also.
I think that one should go in the contest, Nick.
Alrighty, it'll be in the
You think
contest.
that's a good one?
Yeah.
Pump props. Does Larry want to see some pump props?
First team to punt 3 times.
No. Can you say no?
No,
Neither?
you can't say no.
Oh. Okay. Help me find the section that has the first drive and the first score.
Yeah.
Oh, is that it's under game props, drive props?
Okay, so what do you want to look at here?
Well, let's just start with the top, because I actually think that this has a lot of value in it, this section.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe we should start with the either team, because we don't really know who's going to get the ball first, right? Or we can just start from the top. What do you think's best? What makes more sense to run through some of these real quick?
So let's talk about this first. So either team to score a touchdown on their opening drive. I wonder if there's a
easy way to do the research on this one.
Well, I was just either team to score on their first drive, not a touchdown.
Mm-hmm.
But what are your thoughts on this? So yes is plus 110, no is minus 140.
I have to go with the no.
Yeah, I
think either team.
Or do you want to talk about a team?
Okay,
there is no generic
first.
Just first drive.
It's right there. Offensive score on the first drive.
Am I blind? Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, I am
It's
blind.
the third from the bottom.
Yeah, offensive score on first drive.
But this is a little more complicated, because now this has field goals.
Yeah.
Yeah, this was the one I was looking at. I do think there's a little value on the yes.
Why is that?
I think the biggest reason is the field goal kickers, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I think one of the narratives you get a lot, which there's a lot of weight to, is Teams come out nervous, right? And they also don't want to make mistakes on that first drive. But if you can get it to the 35-yard line across midfield, you're in field goal position. Now you still have to make the field goal. But that's asking a lot, huh? That's asking a lot on the first drive.
It is.
Maybe it's not as much value as I thought. But I'm definitely not betting a no at minus 180.
No. So I'm looking. I just have the last 5 Super Bowls up. Only one time has there been a score on the first drive.
One ever?
In the last 5.
Oh, I was like, what?
Yeah, ever.
It's like,
Let
man,
me
they were
pull
really
up.
that nervous, huh?
Let me pull up 5 more. Okay, the Broncos scored on their first drive.
Oh, yeah, field goal, right?
Mm-hmm.
God, that was a good day, Nick.
The Seahawks scored on the Broncos' first drive. Sorry to remind you.
That's so imagine losing the bet that way.
That would be wild.
Oh, wait, time out. Offensive score.
Oh, yeah.
I
Offensive
know, I
score.
was like, ever?
Ever?
I was ready to just, boom, we're slamming it.
Yeah, so only twice in the last 10 has yes hit in the Super Bowl.
And then I wanted to address the either team. It's a little more complicated, right? Because if a team goes 3 and out, they punt the ball. Now the other team has pretty good field position.
Mm-hmm.
Still have to score the touchdown.
Yeah, let's see how second drives have gone. So So 5 of the last 10
5.
have had an offensive score in the first 2 drives.
Okay.
So I would probably lean, I think, even maybe at minus 180, a little bit of value on the no for offense to score on the first drive. But either team to this is either team to score a touchdown, which is a little different. I don't know about that.
Seems like the no is pretty good value.
I'd
right?
probably take the no here also.
Yeah. That could be another. Well, that's minus 180. Oh, wait, no, I'm looking at the wrong one. That's
Minus 140
minus 140.
for no touchdowns in the first 2 drives.
I think we could price shop around for that one, maybe.
Maybe.
We don't have to do it now.
Yeah, I'm not
We don't
going to
have
do it now.
But
But
guys,
that
it
would
takes so long on some of these. Like,
yeah.
there's not because before we use, at least I do. I'll use a app that finds all these, but they don't have it for the Super Bowl.
Mm-hmm. Anything else interesting here? I mean, there's like a billion things to talk about.
Yeah, no, we can move on to something else. And guys, if anyone in the chat has interesting props that you want us to discuss, I don't want to talk about Snoop Dogg and smoking weed. I don't know what I think about that. And plus, that's not on legal books. Oh, Nick, here's a good one.
Yeah.
Let's go to turnover props.
Okay.
And the total game turnovers.
Over under 2.5. So what is your thought here?
Okay, before I say anything, I want to hear your thoughts, if you have any. What's your initial lean?
My initial lean, 135 seems just a little bit steep for the over. At the same time, I do kind of think I lean over. I think.
I lean over too.
Yeah.
I thought I saw this at minus 125. It might have moved. It's getting up there. I mean, 3 turnovers in a game. I actually think this one's kind of game flow dependent in a weird way.
Yeah, I agree.
Because if Burrow, like, let's say the Bengals get down 2 scores, there's going to be a good chance that Von Miller has opportunities at sacks or a fumble by Burrow, or Burrow has to force something in, right?
Fumbled
and then
by
Stafford,
Cam Akers.
yeah, Cam Akers fumbling. Stafford, I mean, he makes some errant throws here and there.
Mm-hmm. I'm looking back at, again, these old Super Bowls.
Mm-hmm. I'm trying to see if I can find that timeout one.
What is the timeout one?
Someone in the chat said, first timeout going to the Rams. I was just trying to see what section that would be.
That's quite the thing to be betting on.
Where's the timeout section?
Can we get timeout props? Okay, so I think it's like 3 or 4 of the last 10. I kind of forgot where my count was. Have had under 2.5. There's actually been a surprising number of fumbles
In Super Bowls?
in past Super Bowls, which I think is a little interesting. So potentially
Lack of focus, Nick? And then
Yeah,
they're
lack
just
of
carrying
focus.
it like a loaf of bread?
or just the defensive players maybe trying as hard as they possibly can to force the
Yeah.
fumble.
He said Caesars. Let me actually Caesars has a search, which is nice.
Oh, that is nice.
Okay, I found it. Here it is.
Okay, what are the odds on
Yeah.
it?
So Rams minus 120 to call the first charge timeout. Bengals minus 110. I'm just curious, like, what's the thinking behind this?
I mean, I'm sure you could just go back and look at all of their games,
Yeah.
and maybe the Rams are just a little bit more liable to
Call timeout.
call the timeout
Yeah.
first.
Will either team use all 6 timeouts in regulation? Yes is plus 200. No, minus 240.
I'd probably say no
Yeah, because typically,
in the first half.
yeah, unless you're the team with the ball at the end. But if not, you could have one left over. Gosh, if the Broncos had this, Fangio never used his timeouts.
Yeah.
Let's see here. There's a few others that I wanted to touch on. See if I can find them.
No, failed challenge doesn't count. They said charge timeout. Or maybe
Oh, Nick, here's a good one.
what is it?
So this is one of those where I feel like the public is, for the most part, it's a very public one, right? It's the winning margin. And I'm trying to find out what book it would be on.
I have
But-
stuff on DraftKings.
Oh, winning margin. Does it have 8.5?
I mean,
Or
there's
does it
just like
have?
ranges.
Oh, yeah, it's like a bracket.
I mean, I'm sure somewhere. Are
Yeah,
you
I
looking
s-
for
I
like
s-
either team to win by more than 8.5?
Yeah, so it was the final winning margin over under 8.5 points. And I think naturally, right, you immediately think under. Because the spread is -4 +4.
Mm-hmm.
But this kind of goes into the numbers, distribution numbers, things of that nature, right, Nick, where it kind of depends, right? Like, but I thought that one was interesting because even if the Rams won by a touchdown, that would still give you an under.
Yeah. It would. The last 4 have all been decided by 8 or more. 5 of the last 6 have been. I would probably take the over on that.
Yeah.
Although then again, these two teams, especially the Bengals, find themselves in a lot of close games.
Mm-hmm.
There's a reason why McPherson has so many game-winning kicks. Just because he's been in the opportunity to do that so often.
Very true.
So,
are there any others that you wanted to
I don't have
discuss?
anything specific in mind. If you have anything else that you want to talk about, or if anybody in the chat has any props, again, there's like a trillion props. We can't cover them all.
I think first quarter is an interesting one, Nick. Over under 9 points. Just the narrative of teams coming out on a slow start, right?
Mm-hmm.
But the hard part, though, is maybe those first 2 drives, teams are more conservative, slower start, but that still gives you 7-8 minutes roughly of another possession, and that one could go over.
Yeah, I mean, I think if we're talking about not liking the teams to score on their first drives, you kind of have to lean under here.
Yeah.
So that would be my lean, under 9 in the first quarter. But I mean, that number 9 is so sketchy.
Yeah.
It's just like it feels very random. The other thing about the first quarter is that there's
I'll
like
be right back. Keep talking.
Is that there's no impetus for teams to score at the end of the first quarter in the same way that there is in the second quarter and in the fourth quarter. So I would probably, that's another reason why I'd take the under. So both kickers, 2 or more field goals. I have to go find this. So Ben, I'm trying to find it. So what are your thoughts on both kickers to make 2 or more field goals? Ben, you're muted. I cannot hear you, Ben. Did you mute your mic? Benjamin.
That's weird. What happened? You hear me?
I can hear you now. I couldn't hear you before. Ben, can you hear me? Are we good?
Yeah, now we are. That's weird. That was weird.
Okay. So what are your thoughts on both kickers to make 2 or more field goals?
Let's see here.
I'm trying to find where it is.
Yeah, I mean, the odds are very important because it should be. Let me see if I could find it on Caesars. I mean, that should be plus money, right?
Yeah. I mean, I think we saw it before. I just forget where it is.
Maybe it's under defensive. Let's see here.
Oh, yeah. Actually, I don't see it on here. It might be somewhere, though. What are the odds on that, Drew?
Here's an interesting one, Nick. Well, maybe Drew finds that. What will be more in game? The total points in the game minus 135, so the total points, or the longest made field goal at plus 105?
I mean,
A lot of variables.
yeah, a lot of variables.
And those ones are tough, right? Where you don't know, the number, obviously.
Yeah, so the longest field goal was set at 47.5 over under, and the total for the game is 48.5. I would probably take the longest field goal at plus money.
That's what I was thinking.
Would be my inclination. Also, that has the potential to just be dead on arrival.
Yeah. Yeah, because if you get a 40-yarder, that's the longest, then it's probably not looking too good.
No.
But who knows?
Who knows? Not me.
Yeah.
So Cartman said lowest scoring quarter over under 3.5. Again, I mean, that you have to know what the odds are.
Yeah. That's an interesting one because I think it's well, I mean, you have the first quarter. We already discussed that. Yeah, I need to see the odds on that. Quarters, maybe? You're in that section?
I'm in quarters.
Yeah.
I mean, this is where it would be.
Let me see if I can find it on. Seems like an over is the good play, but obviously you need to see the number.
For sure.
Because McPherson's the guy he's going to kick the longest field goal. Back to that other one.
Yeah.
What about the shortest touchdown, Nick?
Yeah. Oh, so he said over 3.5 is minus 145 for the highest scoring quarter, or lowest scoring quarter.
I would have to look more into that one.
Yeah. Oh, I'm stupid. I think misinterpreting what you were saying. I was thinking like first, second, third, or fourth quarter. Which one will be the lowest? Not like the number of points scored in the quarter. Okay, yeah.
Let's go through some of these others, Nick. Let's talk about the over/under shortest touchdown. 1.5. I know most books have this. I don't know where it's at though on DraftKings.
Yeah, it's gonna be in here somewhere.
It's somewhere. So the big thing with this one, I made a TikTok about this, and the big thing to consider is a defensive pass interference in the end zone, because that places the ball at the 1 yard line. And of course, I guess there could be an opportunity to get to the 1 yard line without scoring, but that's harder to do just because you're either going to be at the 2 or you score, right? There's a slim margin. So that defensive pass interference gets you right where you need to be if you want to go with the under here. And believe it or not, these refs are pretty average with defensive pass interference calls. So you're basically kind of hoping for one if you like the under.
Yeah. I would probably take the over here. But I mean that's just my thoughts. I don't know how often 1 yard touchdowns get scored. Just in general. I mean I don't know the numbers there.
Yeah.
But yeah, DPI is the big risk. Cross sport props. That could be like a whole another hour of talking.
I've looked at a few, but yeah, they're just so specific because then we literally have to discuss like 2 different games, right? Flea Flicker. That's a funny one. Will there be a Flea Flicker attempted? Actually plus 225 on the yes.
That is very sketchy.
Imagine being at a bar and you're like, "What do you got, man?"
Yes, Flea Flicker. Let's go.
Flea Flicker, and then it's like a illegal formation. Because I don't think they would count that, right? Like
No.
It's done. What if someone bet every prop, Nick?
I mean,
and 0.1 unit?
Yeah, just like I could put $1 on every prop.
You would just lose track. Like every play would have some sort of outcome.
Yeah. Just like a massive fluctuation on just the stupidest shit.
Yeah, your app's just going insane. Like you just cashed. Oh, sorry.
I have 5,000 pending bets.
Yeah.
I'm sure somebody's done that.
Yeah. I mean, even having 20 to 30 props, and I'm not at that number, but you're still pretty like on edge or just in the game because especially if they're player props, right? Like things can happen real quickly. So let's see to make sure we didn't miss anything. First half under, yeah, that's always a popular angle for people. Surprisingly, because it's an under, but I personally like the full game under, I guess, more than the first half, but
yeah, I don't really like dealing with halves.
Yeah. The model has the Bengals, right, Nick?
Yeah, I have the Bengals covering. Rams winning, Bengals covering is what the model has. Ben likes the Rams, though. So, anything else?
We'll give maybe another minute if anyone has questions.
Yeah.
On any props.
I don't have anything.
Yeah,
I'm like, we need to talk about this.
Covered most of them.
Last thing, is the coin flip going to be heads or tails?
I think I said tails. Yeah.
Tails never fails.
That's probably going to be on the prop picking contest, right?
Yeah, it will.
I think that's a good one.
It is. I will occasionally pick against the model if I have some sort of gut feeling. It's pretty rare though. If my gut feeling is the opposite of the model, I usually just don't bet the game, as opposed to betting the other side. What do we have for the over/under? I think Ben likes the under. Model has it going over by like 1.5 points.
Yeah, that's over/under is a going to be super tight.
Mm-hmm.
Tails.
That it
Everyone
is.
likes the tails.
Everyone's on tails. I think
What do
that's
you
what
want?
it was last year. I think it was like 75% of the people were on tails in the contest.
So let's even money on the coin flip. So tomorrow, Nick, let's talk about that.
Yeah.
I think an hour before the game is what we're planning on, right?
Yeah, we'll be live at 7:30 p.m. Eastern. Game kicks off at 8:30 Eastern. So we're just going to be recapping kind of what we are on, plus giving people some time to do the first quarter contest, whatever that ends up being.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, and you guys do not want to miss it. We're going to have plenty of giveaways, the in-game contests. We'll have live bets, potentially, and then we'll have our bets that we're sweating on screen too. I'm trying to think about which ones I'm going to put on screen because I could have quite a bit. Or are we just going to do based on the prop picking contest? How are we going to do that?
I don't know. We'll figure it out. Oh, and yeah, McGann, you're right. It starts at 6:30 Eastern. We're going to be live at 5:30 Eastern. I remember the graphic said 5:30, and I forgot that it was already in Eastern time. So we're Ben and I are in Mountain time, so
Yeah.
I converted it from Mountain to Eastern, even though it was already in Eastern. Yeah, so we'll be live 5:30 Eastern.
Ooh, and I have my antenna, Nick.
Nice. I have my antenna too.
Oh, sweet. So we'll be
I'm gonna move my TV.
we'll
so I
be
can watch it.
against the wall.
Mhm.
Yeah. And if you guys don't know what that means we get the game in real time. No lag streamed
Yep. No
Stream.
dealing with streams.
and people in the chat. Touchdown. And I'm like, oh my god, it's a commercial.
Yeah. So that's all I got. I think it's time to wrap up the stream. Thank you all for tuning in. If you have questions about college basketball or NBA stuff, can ask in the Discord. Here's a link to that. So we will see you all tomorrow for the Super Bowl.
Yeah, guys, we will be ready to go. It's going to be 4 or 5 hour game.
Yeah, it's going to be a long ass
Super
stream.
Bowl. But I'll have my caffeine. We might need to take, we got to take potty breaks.
Mm-hmm.
Piss breaks.
Yeah, got to take the dog out breaks.
I'll take a shot.
Yeah, we can do shots tomorrow.
Yeah. I'll have beers.
Mm-hmm. Definitely having some beers.
So, all right, guys, we'll see you tomorrow. Thanks for tuning in, and good luck placing these, and we'll catch you tomorrow.
Yep. See you tomorrow.
I'll see you.